Ivermectin not recommended as part of COVID-19 treatments. Agenda Nasional Malaysia SAHIH to help country face COVID-19 endemic phase. This is News at 10 with me, Brenda Lepore. Individuals who have received their COVID-19 booster shot appointments are called to come forward and get their jab. Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin said 40% of the eligible recipients who had received their appointments did not attend to receive their jab. Explaining further, Khairi said the booster dose vaccination program under the National Immunisation Drive (PICK) aims to strengthen immunity and protection level against COVID-19 for senior citizens, especially those with comorbidities. It will also lower the chances of severe COVID-19 symptoms and hospital admissions upon infection.
Ya, sebab itu kita akan meningkatkan komunikasi KKM untuk memastikan bahawa mereka yang dah terima janji temu booster ini, mereka dapat menepati appointment yang diberikan. Kita akan tunjuk bukti-bukti yang menyatakan bahawa booster ini selamat dan sangat-sangat digalakkan untuk melindungi terutamanya orang tua daripada kesan buruk COVID-19.
At the same time, Khairi also encouraged those who had been infected with the virus before to get the COVID-19 booster shot. On another note, the Ministry of Health is satisfied with the SOP compliance shown by majority of those involved in the Malacca state election. However, Khairi said there were still some small groups of people who still disobeyed the SOP gazetted by the Health Ministry to curb the spread of COVID-19.
Pengiring dan sebagainya. Dan apabila itu berlaku, susah untuk kita mengamalkan penjarakan fizikal, susah untuk keadaan yang tidak sesak berlaku. Dan sepatutnya mereka memahami dan mungkin mintalah supaya bila turun tu kurangkan pengiring sedikit. Bila saya turun saya kata
He added political leaders should always display good examples to the people by complying to the SOP stipulated. The minister said this after appearing as a guest on RTM's Selamat Pagi Malaysia program. A study conducted by iTech has found that ivermectin is not recommended to be included as part of the existing COVID-19 treatment guidelines, as it does not reduce the risk of severe COVID-19 symptoms. The Health Ministry has concluded it should only be used in clinical trial under strict surveillance. Deputy Health Minister Dr. Nur Azmi Ghazali said the result of high-tech study is parallel with large-scale studies such as Ivacor COVID-19 in Argentina and Together in Brazil that had imposed the use of ivermectin as clinical practice in treating the SARS-CoV-2 virus. The team behind high-tech study is considering to submit their findings to peer-review journal as additional information to other ivermectin studies or as meta-analysis.
Kadar kemerosotan penyakit COVID-19 kepada tahap teruk adalah sama di dalam kumpulan ivermectin jika dibanding dengan kumpulan standard of care. Yang kedua, manakala bagi purata tempoh kemerosotan penyakit COVID-19 dari kategori 2 dan 3 kepada kategori yang lebih teruk iaitu kategori 4 dan 5 menunjukkan tiada perbezaan dan signifikan dari segi statistik berkaitan dua kumpulan ini. Tiga, tiada perbezaan ketara didapati dari segi kemasukan ke ICU, penggunaan alat bantuan pernafasan mekanikal, pemulihan simptom, parameter ujian darah dan resolusi imbasan X-ray dada.
He added safety analysis had discovered that the number of side effects occurring such as diarrhea and 3 times more likely in groups treated with the ivermectin drug compared to the other groups. The Agenda Nasional Malaysia Sihat (ANMS) launched today is a preparation to help keluarga Malaysia face and cope with the endemic phase of COVID-19. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Semasa said ANMS is aimed at cultivating a healthy lifestyle and promoting environmental sustainability to support the health and well-being of keluarga Malaysia. The agenda, a health wellness package which have been researched, planned and subsequently introduced by the government through the Health Ministry, as the main driver is participated directly by the Housing and Local Government Ministry with the involvement of other ministries and agencies.
ANMS dilaksanakan untuk tempoh 10 tahun, iaitu mulai tahun 2021 hingga tahun 2030. Pelaksanaannya dibahagikan kepada dua penggal, iaitu penggal pertama bermula pada tahun 2021 sehingga tahun 2025 dan penggal kedua pula bermula pada tahun 2026 dan akan berakhir pada tahun 2030.
ANMS involves four main thrusts, namely strengthening promotion of a healthy lifestyle, improving health wellness services, enhancing self-health management, and promoting a clean environment, covering 10 strategies and 24 initiatives. Datuk Seri Semasa said for the agenda to succeed, the government has adopted the whole-of-nation approach by building strategic partnership with all parties. He said this when launching ANMS, which was aired over RTM's Selamat Pagi Malaysia program today. A total of 21,397 applications through the Prihatin Business Registration Scheme (SPPP) have been recorded under the Business Registration Act 1956 from the 1st of January to the 31st of October. Of the total, 15,053 applications were from the B40 group, while 6,344 applications were received from full-time students of higher learning institutions. Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Minister Datuk Seri Alexander Nantalingi said the Companies Commission of Malaysia (SSM) is still opening up opportunities and targeting more than 100,000 new registrations through this scheme to further boost the country's economic recovery after being hit by the COVID-19 pandemic, as planned for by the government in Budget 2022.
Skim ini turut memberikan tumpuan kepada pelajar sepenuh masa di institusi pengajian tinggi untuk mendaftarkan perniagaan dan memudah cara mereka untuk menerokai bidang perniagaan yang berpotensi untuk menjana pendapatan melalui pengecualian fee pendaftaran.
The minister was replying to a question from Rasas MP Cha Ki Chin's question, who wanted to know what SSM's initiatives in helping the B40 group affected by the COVID-19 pandemic to restart their businesses as soon as the economic sector opened up. The National Recovery Council (NPN) proposed that the country's border to be reopened to international travellers by the 1st of January next year. According to its chairman, Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin, this is to expedite the country's recovery process, especially for tourism sector. Tan Sri Muhyiddin said the tourism sector was severely affected due to the pandemic, and the continuous closure of country's border is expected to cause losses amounting up to 90 billion ringgit.
Apa faedah yang patut kita raih daripada tahap vaksinasi yang sudah begitu tinggi? Ialah untuk membenarkan pelawat asing datang ke negara kita, buka sempadan kita supaya faedah itu akan dapat dinikmati oleh Malaysia, tetapi sentiasa orang kata berjaga-jaga dengan SOP, dengan ujian swab, yang itu saya fikir sudah dibuat oleh banyak negara. Jadi kalau jawatankuasa COVID yang saya percaya dipimpin oleh Perdana Menteri meneliti, sudah pasti dia boleh kenal pasti mana negara-negara yang sudah sampai tahap sudah boleh kita benarkan masuk ke negara kita.
He said this after chairing the National Recovery Council meeting in Putrajaya. He also welcomed the implementation of the travel corridor between Malaysia and Indonesia, as announced by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Semasa yesterday. Next, PM's visit to Indonesia marks new phase in bilateral relations. Stay with us. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Semasa visited military equipment production facility PT Pindad in Bandung, which has been involved in the defence industry since 1983. The visit is the last event in the itinerary of Datuk Seri Semasa's 3-day official visit to Indonesia. During the visit, he was accompanied by Foreign Minister Datuk Saifuddin Abdullah, Senior Defence Minister Datuk Seri Hishamuddin Tun Hussein, and Charge d'Affaires of the Malaysian Embassy in Indonesia, Adlan Muhammad Shafiq. Also present on behalf of Indonesia was Minister of Defence Prabowo Subianto. PT Pindad is a state-owned company that produces military and commercial products. The company is a major supplier of armaments and ammunition for the Indonesian National Armed Forces and other uniform bodies to support Indonesia's defence and security capabilities. PT Pindad also carries out development, engineering and fabrication activities, as well as maintenance, among others. Meanwhile, in a media conference later, the Prime Minister said the national defence and security industry policy is expected to be launched within a month or two. He said the launch of the policy will strengthen the country's defence industry, which is one of the main focuses of the Ministry of Defence.
Mungkin selepas ini kita akan lihat dari segi opportunity ataupun peluang bagaimana kita boleh mengadakan kerjasama di antara Malaysia dan Indonesia dari segi industri pertahanan. Ya, kerana salah satu fokus MINDEF Kementerian Pertahanan kita adalah untuk memperkasakan industri pertahanan kita. Dan kita akan lancarkan dasar industri pertahanan yang kita jangka mungkin 1-2 bulan lagi. Jadi bertepatanlah lawatan ini untuk kita lihat bagaimana kita boleh kerjasama dengan pihak Indonesia dari segi industri pertahanan.
The ongoing national defence and security industry policy will provide comprehensive guidance on reducing dependence on assets and equipment from abroad. According to the 12 Malaysia Plan released by the Economic Planning Unit last September, the policy, among others, focuses on product and service development as well as talent development. Overall, Datuk Seri Semasa expressed his satisfaction over his official visit to Indonesia, describing it as very successful. The Prime Minister departed from Hussein Sastranegara International Airport in Bandung, ending his 3-day official visit to the Republic.
Saya sangat berpuas hati dengan lawatan saya ke Indonesia ini, bermula dengan di Jakarta. Bermula dengan pertemuan empat mata dengan Bapa Presiden Jokowi yang kita telah pun selesaikan banyak isu yang tertunggak dan sebagainya. Dan hari ini di Bandung, di Pindad ini juga mungkin kita akan mencapai sesuatu yang baik untuk kedua-dua negara. Dari segi kerjasama dalam bidang pertahanan, industri pertahanan.
During the visit, the Prime Minister had a face-to-face meeting with the Indonesian President, Joko Widodo, at Bogor's palace, and they arrived at a mutual agreement. Among others, both countries have agreed to implement a travel corridor through a travel corridor arrangement, or vaccinated travel lane, VTL. Indonesia has become the second country after Singapore who have made the same arrangement with Malaysia. Malaysia-Indonesia also signed to Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, a demonstration of the level of good relations that have long been established between the countries. For the first time, MOU on cooperation and mutual assistance in customs matters was signed, while MOU on cooperation in the field of education was inked after 12 years of delay. Meanwhile, a total of 4 MOUs and agreements were also signed by the private sectors of both countries, which is expected to see $3.1 billion in investments. The visit to Indonesia was the first visit for Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri to the neighbouring country since taking the oath of office as the 9th Prime Minister on 21st August. Now, 50% of employers in the country have not provided conducive, safe and comfortable accommodations for their workers, violating the Employees' Minimum Standards of Housing, Accommodations and Amenities Act 1990. Deputy Human Resources Minister Dato' Awang Hashim said a total of 1,169 investigation papers have been opened so far, and 796 of it were given compound of 9.14 million ringgit.
Ini rentatan daripada statistik penguatkuasaan Akta 446 yang kita laksanakan sejak Februari 2021. Kita telah memeriksa sejumlah 34,248 majikan. I repeat, 34,248 majikan yang melibatkan 150,248 buah penginapan.
The minister said this at the launching ceremony of guidelines of employees' minimum standards of housing under Act 446 book. Through the book's publication, it will allow industry players to have a better insight on workers' accommodation standard as stipulated by Act 446. The Department of Islamic Development, JAKIM, has successfully registered 75% of applications for halal certification within 30 days. This involves applications that have no issues in terms of auditing.
Prosedur yang diletakkan oleh pihak bahagian halal JAKIM, proses untuk kita menyelesaikan permohonan itu ialah maksimumnya 30 hari. Dengan syarat mereka itu sudah pun tidak memiliki masalah, dia ikut apa yang manual yang kita telah pun tetapkan. Dan setakat hari ini yang aktif. Yang aktif seramai 7,498 orang.
The minister said this at the soft launch of the National Halal Conference 2021 at Complex Islam Putrajaya. The conference is expected to be launched by Prime Minister Dato' Sri Semasa on 23rd November. They are gone but not forgotten. The British High Commission in Malaysia today paid tribute to fallen British and Malaysian heroes at the Remembrance Day service ceremony in Labuan today. Let's take a look. The ceremony, which is celebrated in Labuan every 11th of July, was slightly different as it had to adhere to the new norm due to the pandemic. Political counsellor of the British High Commission to Malaysia, Harvey Woods, praised the organisers, Labuan Corporation, for making it possible to hold the ceremony again after it was cancelled last year due to the pandemic.
It clearly has been challenging for the Labuan Corporation to arrange this event under the current restrictions. Last year it was not possible to organise an event at all, but I've been very impressed by the creativity and the flexibility shown by the organisers of the event to ensure that it can go ahead. And it is, I think it is done. They have done great credit to themselves and to Labuan.
Remembrance Day is observed on 11 November annually in the United Kingdom and Commonwealth countries to remember the end of the First World War on the same day in 1918, and as a way to remember the members of the armed forces who have died in line of duty. It was first observed in 1919 and was known as Armistice Day until the end of the Second World War. And that's it from us this evening. In our top story, ivermectin not recommended as part of COVID-19 treatments. Join us for updates at noon at 12:30 tomorrow. Till then, I'm Brenda LePaul. Thank you so much for watching and take care.